because sometimes I would put something on and I'm like, damn, I do this.
Okay, all right.
I consider myself an artist. At the moment, I make clothes, so fashion designer. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. I can't wait to actually, make this garment with it, or make, something. It's gonna be the first that I'm making, like I said before. It sounds amazing. And I want to see what all this hype is about this machine as well. Because it's been talked up a lot in all the YouTube videos I've seen. What got me into fashion, my dad and my brother. Growing up, my dad he taught me certain rules. Not like it was like in a natural way. Like, he would get dressed for work every day. And like he would teach me how to make a style. So every morning I would knot my dad's, necktie. And by, in doing that, to teach me, oh, your tie has to be this length. It can't be longer than your belt. It can't be, if it's at this length, it's too short. If it's here, it's too long. So, he taught me that. He taught me stuff like your belt has to match your shoes when you tuck in, things like that. And my brother, I guess this was when I got a little older, and I'm the baby of the house. So my brother is like way older, like 11 years. So, I would see my brother going out and stuff, and, he just looked cool to me. I wanted to dress like him. He would wear a dress shirt with jeans and like dress shoes, and he's going to the club, but like, he just looked cool to me. So I'm sure, not even I'm sure, definitely picked up stuff from my dad and my brother. Taste from my mother as well. Boom, right here. Not just born in Nigeria. Closest to this corner, this is Lagos right here, and this tiny ass, we got Lagos, and then from Lagos, where's America? Traveled, came here for college, Illinois. It's a pretty short journey. It's just from Lagos to Illinois, and here we are. But yeah, man, that's it. Maybe I should turn this plane in the other direction, but yeah. And like you said, the plan is all over the world. Let's get it. First thing that comes to mind is in high school, well, secondary school, as we call it. So in secondary school, like, I would, sew stuff for people and for myself as well. So I would slim fit my housewear or my uniform because it didn't fit right, or I would taper my pants. And at the time, I would have to do that with my hands, so like needle and thread. So in the night, before light out is at 10:30, I'm sewing. If light out comes and I have to finish this before tomorrow morning, I'll use my torchlight, my lamp, to finish sewing in secondary school. So that definitely played a part because unbeknownst to me at the time, I was just trying to get it done and to make sure my pants or my trousers looked right on I wasn't slim fitting shorts, so this was in like senior secondary. My pants, I was trying to make sure my trousers looked, right for the next day. But unbeknownst to me, I was practicing. I was, teaching myself these, like how to follow a seam, how to sew in a straight line, how to make sure that when you sew it like this on the inside, it looks this way on the outside. All these things I was learning, I was teaching myself without knowing that I was teaching myself, right? So that has definitely, looking back now, that played a role. So I remember when I got to SS1, or I guess when I was going into SS1, I'm like, that was when skinny jeans. So like the skinny jean culture was a thing. And I had this idea to make my uniform skinny. But we had the option to buy the material and have our uniforms made with our own tailors. So I remember my dad's tailor, Rusco, at the time. I had him make my trouser pencil. So I came into SS1 with like my pencil trousers, and I remember it was so cool. And it wasn't just me, like me and a few of my guys, Joshua, Salami, like, Jopa. So yeah, that was the thing. We actually got into trouble for that. And the crazy thing, I remember like, I don't know why we got into trouble for that, because it wasn't a rule. It wasn't a rule per se that, oh, you can't have skinny trousers, but I don't know, I guess because it was like, people were talking about it, like, oh shit, these niggas, I don't know. But yeah, I remember that we stood out with that for sure. Coming into SS1 with our slim fitted trousers and pencil is what we call it, our pencil pants, mad. I got some Sarah Vaughan. I got this because of one song in particular, and it's called Whatever Lola Wants. I heard it on somebody's Instagram one time. I'm like, yeah, I kind of want that on my record player. So I got that. I have a lot of Nancy Wilson as well. I have a few records of hers. I have Grover Washington. I have this because of Inner City Blues. Amazing song. First thing that springs to mind doesn't have a name actually, but it was a 3-piece. So it was for my friend's wedding. My friend was getting married. Obviously there's Ashoebi now. Ashoebi translates to the fabric or the clothes of the family, but it's what friends and family wear to the wedding, so they can identify, okay, this is family of the bride, friend of the bride. So Ashoebi, I got the fabric and I used it to actualize a design that I had already sketched. It was something, a design that I had prior to that, and then that was an opportunity to, oh, okay, I have this fabric, let me try and make it. And it was a 3-piece. So pants, the top was, it had a mandarin collar. So if you see it without the 3rd piece, it kind of looks like, this might be wrong, I hope it's not, but kind of looks like, I'm an Asian dude, or it's like Asian inspired. But when I put the 3rd layer on top, it was very Game of Thrones inspired. What's crazy is I remember when I sketched it, I was watching Game of Thrones season 7 probably. I don't remember the episode, but it was Tyrion. But it was a scene between Tyrion and her. And I sketched that kind of based on what Tyrion had on at the time. And yeah, it was just that 3rd piece. In fact, when I did the photo shoot, I kind of had the hand of the king on there to kind of, shout out Tyrion. But yeah, I really, to today, I love how that came out. Earlier I was talking about an idea and actualizing it and it coming out just beautiful. That was one of the instances that made me realize that, like, wow, I felt so good. Like, just looking at, even before I took pictures or whatever, just looking at what I had done, I'm like, damn, that's amazing. Right now I'm working on a new collection and it's called Crease. Crease like ghettos. You see, in secondary school, your shorts or your trousers, ghettos has to be sharp and you have to maintain it. We didn't have irons in school and shit. So we had to, fold our stuff under the beds with our conflicts carton, put it under our bed and make sure that your ghettos is looking right, exactly. So Crease is just the English name. It's the first time that I've had like a theme of more than a theme directing, multiple garments. I didn't go to school for this, so I'm not exactly sure what the definition of a collection is, but it feels like a collection to me, and it's the first time I've had that feeling. Yeah, so this is the first garment. Crazy, because it came from, it evolved from this other project I was doing in Nigeria. So I was getting clothes produced in Nigeria, and those trousers were also flared, and they also had iron creases, right? But the iron creases were all the way. It was from top to bottom on the front and back. So from the waist all the way to the ankles, on the front of the pants and on the back of the pants, but somehow this came about. Let me see if, like, the first sketch, I don't know where the first sketch came from, but it came somehow. So Crease represents, to me, like even the name represents, besides what it actually means, it represents like rigidity, like structure, and it kind of gives structure. But with this garment, for example, the first one, the one I'm working on right now, I referred to it as sexy earlier. I feel like that kind of contrasts with rigidity, if that makes sense. So it's flowy. So the boot cut, the flared trousers, that's flowy. So it's curved, and crease kind of signifies like straight, rigid lines. So I think those two ideas contrast. But I also wanted to represent elegance. I also wanted to represent cleanliness, freedom, flow, swagger, boldness, and like I said earlier, sexiness as well. So excited. And over here, well, this, first of all, is workstation. This is where I make the patterns. This is where I make the patterns. This is where I cut the fabric. I also made the table. Finally, it took a while, but it comes in handy because not only it's like heavy duty, it can withstand heat, so I can iron on it without worrying about burning stuff, but it helps because so let's say when I wanna cut out a piece of fabric and I've made the pattern, let's grab a pattern from here. Yes, sir. So I make the pattern, cut out the pattern, then arrange the pattern on the fabric. This is like makeshift right now because I've already done it. I've cut out the fabric. But when I want to do that, I'll just lay this out completely on the fold, because sometimes I need to cut stuff on the fold. Lay out the fabric. Now with this table, this is what I like about this, why I made it like this. I can actually pin the pattern onto the fabric and the table. Boom. Honestly, anytime I sit back and think about what I'm able to do in the moment, that is what stands out to me more than anything, because I remember this question makes me think about when I wanted to start scratch, whether pants, sink, whatever. I wanted to learn how to make a garment from scratch. And I had tried to do that on YouTube at first, try to find videos. And after watching a couple of videos, I was, very, I was discouraged, let's say that, to say the least. I was discouraged. I'm like, okay, I need to find somebody to teach me, because there's no way I'm gonna learn this from YouTube. So I had no idea how to make a pattern, what a pattern was. I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, how do I do this? I had no idea. So after giving up the first time, I say, okay, I have to find somebody. And then I realized, okay, maybe finding somebody is not as easy as I thought, or maybe I didn't know how, whatever. I wasn't able to find somebody. I went back to YouTube, and I was able to, with the help of YouTube videos and trial and error, just figure it out. Just do it. The first garment I tried to make, I have to say try, because it wasn't wearable. It was supposed to be a shirt. It did not look anything like a shirt, but that was part of it. So kind of bringing that back to the question, that for me, things like that, that's the accomplishment. Obviously at that time, I didn't even know how to make a pattern, but obviously subsequently, oh, how do I make a shirt with a collar? I didn't know how to do that, but figuring that out. How do I make pants? Figuring that out. How do I make a welt pocket? Figuring that out. How do I make sure the seam is clean? Like all these things, these are the things that make me proud that I was able to do this. And I have to continuously remind myself of these things whenever for example, I still don't know how to make a suit, like a blazer, a jacket, because of because of the level that I want to make it at. How do you put all the padding, how is the padding supposed to be sewn, whatever, all that. So when I eventually do learn how to make that, or when I'm in that process, I'm gonna have to be reminding myself that, okay, this is nothing, like I can do this too because I've learned all that stuff, so I can learn this too. And I'm looking forward to that. So those are the things that those are the accomplishments that make me proud.
Wagwan, this is Ife. I'm an artist, fashion designer, and you're watching Profiles.
I try to have my sketchbook with me all the time. I carry it in this bag, and whenever it is, if I'm driving and something comes out, if I can pull over, I'm gonna pull over and put that thing down, because in the moment that it comes, that's the purest time. It's the most clear. The idea is the most clear in the moment that it comes. So the closer to the moment that I can put it down, the better. So, and the only time there's a delay is usually if I'm driving, obviously. If not, if I'm walking, if I'm riding my bike, I'm gonna pull over right away and put that shit down because it's important. And also, I try to record what's going on in my environment. So let's say if I got an idea right now and I put it in my sketchbook, I'm gonna put, Obong Jaya was playing in the background while we were shooting my Profiles episode, Lenny B was here, Will was here, whatever else. As much detail as I can get, so that when I revisit that page on my sketchbook, I can, as much as possible, put myself back in that frame of mind that I was, and that way I can do my best to actualize that idea, because the idea is the master, I'm only the servant, bro.